Janet Jackson built an empire while carrying wounds the world never saw. On a cramped street in Gary, Indiana, inside a two-bedroom house where 11 people shared space meant for 4, a little girl was born into chaos. Janet Demita Jo Jackson arrived May 16, 1966, the youngest of 10 children in a family that had nothing but ambition. Her father worked grueling shifts at the steel mill, hands blackened by dust, while moonlighting with an R&B band just to keep food on the table. Her mother juggled part-time work at Sears with raising a household that felt more like a military camp than a home. This wasn't the beginning of a fairy tale. This was survival mode. 10 kids slept feet to face in beds pushed against peeling walls. The kitchen doubled as a rehearsal studio. Privacy didn't exist. Love felt rationed. And discipline came hard and fast from a father who believed affection made you weak. Joe Jackson didn't let his children call him Dad. It was Joseph delivered, with the same coldness he used when correcting mistakes during endless practice sessions. A wrong note meant punishment. A missed step meant consequences. Childhood for Janet meant watching life happen through a window while her brothers rehearsed, performed, and eventually conquered the world as the Jackson 5. She was 3 years old when the family moved to California after the group signed with Motown Records. The house got bigger, but the walls still felt like they were closing in. While her brothers lit up stages across America, Janet sat in shadows, too young to perform, but old enough to feel invisible. She dreamed of becoming a jockey or a lawyer, anything that didn't involve cameras and choreography. But destiny, shaped by family expectations, had different plans. By age 7, Janet stood under blinding lights at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. While other kids played with toys, she delivered rehearsed lines and polished smiles. At 10, she was cast on the family variety show The Jacksons, her innocence traded for punchlines and ratings. Then came acting roles on Good Times, Different Strokes, and Fame. America watched a child perform, but nobody saw the girl trapped behind the performance. Her early music career felt equally hollow. In 1982, her debut album dropped under her father's iron management. The songs were polished, the production was slick, but Janet's soul was absent. Critics shrugged. Fans compared her to Michael, whose Thriller had just rewritten music history. She wasn't seen as Janet Jackson. She was Michael's little sister, living in a shadow so massive it blocked out the sun. The breaking point came quietly but powerfully. By 1986, Janet made the most courageous decision of her young life. She fired her father as her manager. She walked away from the Jackson machine that had controlled every breath she'd taken since birth. She partnered with producers Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and together in just 6 weeks, they created Control. The album wasn't just music. It was a declaration of independence. The title track hit like a sledgehammer. This time, I'm gonna do it my way. Nasty became an anthem for women refusing to be disrespected. What have you done for me lately? Questioned relationships built on empty promises. The choreography was sharp, military precise, unforgettable. Janet wasn't asking for permission anymore. She was taking what was hers. Control sold over 10 million copies worldwide. It dominated the Billboard 200. Critics who had dismissed her as Michael's shadow suddenly had no choice but to recognize her power. For the first time in her life, Janet wasn't following anyone. She was leading. Then came the masterpiece. In 1989, Rhythm Nation 1814 dropped like a cultural earthquake. This wasn't just an album about love and heartbreak. This was social commentary wrapped in infectious beats. Songs about racial unity, poverty, gun violence, and injustice. The music videos looked like short films addressing real issues. The choreography resembled military formations, precise and powerful. The album achieved something unprecedented. 7 top 5 singles from one record. Nobody had done that before. The tour shattered attendance records. MTV played her videos on repeat. She stood shoulder to shoulder with Madonna and even her brother Michael as one of the biggest forces in pop music. But behind the triumph was exhaustion. The rehearsals were brutal. The schedule was punishing. Janet collapsed into empty hotel rooms night after night, her body screaming from the relentless grind. Still, she kept rising. In 1991, she signed a historic contract with Virgin Records worth $32 to $50 million, the largest deal ever given to a female artist at that time. Headlines celebrated the milestone, but behind the numbers was a woman still fighting comparisons to her brother. Interviewers still asked if she was just riding Michael's coattails. The question stung every single time. Her 1993 album, Janet, showed the world a different side. Softer, more intimate, unapologetically sensual. That's the Way Love Goes won her a Grammy and proved she could dominate with tenderness as effectively as she'd conquered with aggression. For millions of women, Janet became proof that you could be powerful and vulnerable, commanding and feminine, all at once. But the glory came with invisible costs. In her 2022 documentary, Janet revealed something that shattered hearts worldwide. Michael had mocked her weight. The teasing came disguised as jokes, but the wounds ran deep. In an industry already merciless to women's bodies, those comments from her own brother carved scars that fame couldn't heal. She battled self-esteem issues in silence while the world celebrated her beauty. The pressure kept mounting. Endless tours punished her body. Sleepless flights drained her spirit. She was fire on stage, electric and precise, but when the lights died and the crowds dispersed, she returned to hotel rooms that felt like gilded cages. Millions adored her, but success only magnified her loneliness. That pain poured into The Velvet Rope in 1997. For the first time, Janet admitted she'd battled depression. The album became therapy set to music, confronting identity, self-worth, and the desperate search for healing. Fans called it a masterpiece. Some said it saved their lives. Janet herself confessed, "Writing that album was like wrapping a bandage around my wounds." Then came the scandal that nearly destroyed everything. In 2004, during the Super Bowl halftime show, a wardrobe malfunction lasting less than a second ignited a cultural firestorm. America gasped. The media raged. Radio stations blacklisted her songs. Television networks erased her videos. Her male counterpart walked away virtually untouched, but Janet was crucified in the court of public opinion. "One mistake on stage and my entire career was judged," she said years later. For nearly a decade, she lived in exile, silenced by an industry she had once ruled. But Janet Jackson doesn't stay down. In 2015, she returned with Unbreakable under her own Rhythm Nation label. Even the title was defiance. Scarred, punished, doubted, but never destroyed. Her personal life carried equal devastation. At 18, desperate to escape her father's control, she married James DeBarge in secret. The marriage lasted barely a year before being annulled. James battled addictions she couldn't fix. The relationship became another cage, proving that freedom isn't found by running into someone else's arms. For decades, cruel rumors haunted her, claiming she'd secretly given birth during that marriage. Tabloids fed on the lie. Strangers whispered it as truth. In 2022, exhausted and weary, Janet finally addressed it. That was not true. Behind those 5 words was the exhaustion of a woman chased by lies longer than the marriage itself lasted. Her second marriage seemed destined to last forever. In 1991, she quietly married Renee Elizondo. Then came the blow that nearly destroyed her. On June 25, 2009, her brother Michael died suddenly at 50 years old. The world lost the king of pop. Janet lost the boy who'd held her hand on the smallest stages of Gary, Indiana. The boy who shared her hunger, her laughter, her fear. The boy who'd grown into a legend but never stopped being her Michael. His death wasn't just global tragedy. For Janet, it was the sound of silence swallowing her life. "There's not a day that goes by I don't think of him," she admitted. In lonely hotel rooms, she'd play his music videos through the night, sobs carrying her into dawn. Michael's funeral at the Staples Center brought over 1 billion viewers worldwide. His 11-year-old daughter, Paris, sobbed at the microphone. "Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine." The world wept. But while millions mourned loudly, Janet mourned in silence. At the MTV Video Music Awards, she honored him the only way she knew how, dancing to Scream, their iconic duet, with Michael's image towering behind her. Each movement was rage, love, and sorrow combined. The losses kept coming. In June 2018, Joe Jackson passed away at 89. The architect of their empire, the father who demanded discipline but withheld tenderness. His death stirred contradictions Janet couldn't resolve. "My father pushed us and yes, sometimes hurt us," she admitted. But without him, there would be no Jackson 5, no Janet, no Michael. Then in January 2024, Tito Jackson died at 70. For Janet, losing Tito was like losing the quiet glue that held the family together after Michael's death. Another fracture in the same scar tissue. Another reminder that the family she once knew was slipping away piece by piece. Today at 59, Janet Jackson stands as a survivor who redefined resilience. Her net worth sits around $200 million, built on music, investments, and ownership of intellectual property. She owns multi-million-dollar estates designed less for grandeur than sanctuary. Her London home sits in a quiet neighborhood where she can take Isa to school without paparazzi. Her Los Angeles properties balance luxury with privacy, walls built not to display trophies but to protect laughter and bedtime stories. She divides her time between being Janet Jackson the icon and Janet the mother. In 2023, her Together Again tour filled arenas with generations of fans. Her Las Vegas residency extends into 2025, proving time has only deepened her power. When she moves on stage, the years dissolve. She's rhythm and fire, grace and defiance. Off stage, her life couldn't be more different. She hums lullabies instead of ballads, teaches her son humility instead of choreography, finds healing not in thunderous applause, but in the quiet laughter of a child at play. Isa, now 8 years old, is the miracle child who gave what no sold-out arena ever could, a reason to wake each day with joy. Janet shields him from the glare that once consumed her, letting him grow up with ball games, bedtime routines, and music discovered on his own. Friends say she's happiest behind the wheel on school runs, on sidelines cheering for her son, or quietly watching him lose himself in melodies. Her greatest legacy isn't records sold or awards won. It's the boy she raises to become his own man. She maintains a plant-based diet, steady yoga and meditation, careful fitness routines that keep her strong as both performer and mother. She's poured tens of millions into causes from AIDS research to children's hospitals, disaster relief to education programs. Her giving, like her grief, has always been private, steady, profound. Janet Jackson's story whispers a truth no award can capture. Greatness isn't measured by how high you climb, but by how many times you rise after falling. She's not merely the youngest child who once stood in her brother's shadows. She's the flame that still burns, carrying forward the light of a dynasty scarred by brilliance and tragedy alike. For millions of fans, she's the icon who gave them rhythm to dance, words to heal, courage to endure. For her son, she's simply mom, and in that duality lies her ultimate triumph. Where others might have been broken, she chose to rise. Her wounds became anthems. Her scars became rhythm. Her grief became grace. Hit subscribe to discover more untold stories of legends who transformed pain into immortal art.